is important to us and will be answered by our next available administrator. Please note that your call may be recorded for monitoring and training purposes.
Yes, hi, Mr. Browell. How are you doing?
I'm okay. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. We've arranged for speak today at 2, haven't we?
We did say that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I think you're busy or something. Are you okay?
No, it's okay. I can't stay on a long time. Though,
Yeah, that's fair enough. Obviously, it's understandable. Obviously, I'm looking to get some resolution. So the purpose of our call today is that obviously, you've received a safeguarding alert. I have asked for a copy of that. You've not forwarded me a copy yet.
Yeah, I didn't receive the safeguarding alert. It was actually it was a safeguarding team, and then they said that they were closing it, and then left the matter with me really. So there's nothing to send you.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, so you've informed me that the safeguarding team received the alert, yes?
That's as far as I'm aware, yes.
And so they closed it and gave it to you?
Well, they've closed it from their side, yes.
Okay, all right. And obviously, I've asked, because if a can you understand, like, obviously, as I've explained in my email, this is a malicious safeguarding alert raised by the Housing Association at a time when they are pursuing litigation. So, obviously, I need to have this reported to the police or reported somewhere or to the courts or something, because they were effectively attempting to undermine court proceedings by raising a false flag.
Right. But I think you need to kind of take that up with Manningham Housing.
Yeah, well, I have done so, but obviously, as you can appreciate, they're being if they've done something wrong, they're not going to give me evidence to show that they've done something wrong, so I can report them to the police.
The thing is, she's had that I'm allocated to work on Talib's behalf, not with with respect, not to work on your behalf. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, well, there seems to be a conflict here, because I'm working on Talib's behalf because he's my brother, he's in my care. Obviously he's authorized me to act on his behalf. So the question arises: how there seems to be a conflict between you and I in the roles that we have, and it should be to the Talib's benefit as two independent parties looking to act in his best interest. However, what I'm finding is that, I'm acting in his best interest because I'm, number one, his brother. Number two, I live with him. Number three, I provide him with 24-hour care. Number three, I'm looking after for his best interest. And you're saying that, well, that's your job as well. That's your role. But you don't seem to be doing anything. I mean, one of the reasons that we're having this conversation is that a safeguarding alert, I need clarity of understanding. Like, a safeguarding alert has been raised on the 13th of October. At the same time, the Manningham Housing are presenting me with land registry documents regarding 10 Thornbury Avenue and asking me why can't we move there. This is the same conversation that you and I have had. So, when you say the fact, I'm sorry that, I'm just here to look into Talib's interest, you're a pivotal role in this whole saga. And however, you're the only person that I can speak to. Nobody else, everybody else is being very tight-lipped. I mean, if you recall back in our conversation earlier on, many months ago, I believe in July and August, you were also mentioning to me, oh, Talib's got a house, you can go there. And now all of a sudden, the Manningham Housing are saying the same thing. So, like when you're saying you're working in Talib's best interest, I think there's a conflict of interest here because you're evidently not working in Talib's best interest because no resolution is taking place. When you've met Talib, on the one occasion, he's asked you a simple question, how much money of mine are you holding? Which is, I think, a very reasonable question. Anybody with any reasonable rationality would want to know how much money somebody's holding of theirs. He's asked you a very sensible and reasonable question, and you come back several months later saying we can't answer that. And that because you've said that.
Yeah, because I asked the appointeeships, and they said that it wasn't standard practice to let people know what money they've got in appointeeships. So all I can do is repeat what they've said.
Okay, but you understand you're an intelligent, reasonable person. That's not standard practice. I mean, obviously, it is standard practice by the local authority that goes around murdering vulnerable people, exploiting them, taking their money. I know it's standard practice, but the standard practice is not lawful or legal. It's not based on law, is it? It's like, hey, I know it's standard practice, what you're doing to me, what you're doing to my brother. It's obviously, as far as the local authority is concerned, it's just standard practice. We've just murdered your mother, standard practice. We've just taken all our finances away, standard practice. You've now exploited my brother, just standard practice. My brother's on the verge, me and my brother are on the verge of becoming homeless again. All right? That's just standard practice, isn't it? It's just standard practice that the local authority gets the judges to prostitute out their services for the best interest of the local authority. That's just standard practice. Moving away from this term of just standard practice as a form of appeasement and deflection, the bottom line is that my brother's not receiving any money, but more importantly, and you're fully aware of this, it's been over a year, there are several issues that I need to discuss with you, in addition to the fact that it's now coming up to 3 years since my brother's disability badge. All right, we need to get that renewed. That's something that we require the local authorities' assistance in. Now, interestingly enough, it was in November 2019, 3 years ago, when the local authority became aware that I had the lasting power of attorney. All right. And then at that stage, they said, I challenged them to, I said that stage that they said, oh, where is the DWP appointee? And then obviously, as you know, getting the disability badge requires evidence, which they could not provide. So, there's something that's happening which is truly horrific to me and my brother. We're on the verge of, becoming homeless again, which is going to, shorten my brother's life. He's going to basically die. And you're saying, well, that's just standard practice. So with respect, I'm trying to understand something. And what I'm trying to understand is that how has the local authority become his DWP appointee in November 2019? All right? Because that clearly seems fraudulent to me. I've spoken to my brother Adalat, who's told me, yeah, they just got the judges to fiddle the orders. So that's the information I'm working on. Now, I understand, Mr. Browell, that you're very limited in what information you can relay to me or and evidently that is on the basis that they don't want you to tell me any information, all right? They want you to hold it, no doubt they've instructed you, don't tell him anything, all right? While we continue to commit these acts of malevolence and fraud. But the bottom line is that you've come to my home, where we're living, on the 14th of October. All right, that's not been pre-arranged with me, and that is as a result of receiving a safeguarding alert. All right, and you've informed me that safeguarding alerts come from Manningham. I wrote to them asking for a copy of the safeguarding alert. I have grave concerns that what they've reported to you is the poor quality of care that my brother's receiving, which they wouldn't have known about. All right, which the agents didn't even enter the property, which leads me to believe the fact that the whole injunction order which they've secured against me and my brother is fraudulent, which gives me the whole application was fraudulent, which brings me back to August 2020. Now, in August 2020, Mr. Browell, you're fully aware that something's happened, all right? Because that's the last time we spoke, and he said, "Yeah, I don't need to speak to you anymore." Attempts have been made to take my brother away from us, or further destabilizes. So I'm just gaining a bit of clarity of understanding. So let's come back to this point on. You came down on the Friday, the 14th of October, as a result of a safeguarding alert, and you told me you didn't contact me on the telephone.
No.
Okay.
No, she said.
You didn't.
No, I tried to call you, but you didn't.
No,
you didn't answer.
no.
I only called you on that morning.
Yeah, you called me on the morning, having received the safeguarding alert. So you called me on the morning, all right? It was a missed call. I got your missed calls, but the reality is that when it didn't go through, you could have left me a message.
Yes, I could have done, yeah.
You didn't. You in fact came down with a colleague of yours.
Yeah.
So two of you came down, all right, as a result of the safeguarding alert, and knocking on our door in the morning of Friday. And then later on in the afternoon, you did telephone me and did leave me a message saying, "Oh, I'm just checking up on Talib." You didn't make me aware of the fact that you had been down in the morning. You didn't make me aware that there was safeguarding concerns. And in fact, obviously, you were on annual leave for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, this is highly circumspect.
It's just trying to check Talib's well-being, but at least I can say that I've tried to go to the property to see Talib, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to yourself and Talib as well, whether
Yes.
you're going to let me see him. So at least I've done what I can to try and see him.
So you're just basically ticking your own boxes, saying that you're covering your own back effectively, aren't you?
Well, my role is to try and make sure that Talib's okay, yeah. So that would be to just try and visit someone.
Okay, but this is the thing that you must have, and this must have been authorized by somebody, because you're telling me now it's not authorized. You got one of your colleagues to come down with you as well. Who was your colleague?
That was my colleague, a community care worker or officer. Support worker.
So that must have been okayed by your managers, no?
I think I'd let my managers know that we'll be visiting, but
yes.
I'm not sure if it needs to be approved.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you're now telling me that it was your decision, not their decision, but you clearly knew the fact that I mean, just imagine if I opened the door, you know that we would have been antagonized. You knew this, all right? So
the thing is, you understand everything as being antagonistic, Shazad, so I don't see how I can do anything without you kind of feeling that it's been antagonizing.
Well, here, with respect, yes, all the actions taken by you are as a result of others giving you instructions are antagonistic, because we're suffering as a consequence. So you can't say, well, I'm trying to be, that there is a reasonable way for you to have behaved. You didn't behave reasonably. You had my telephone number. You could have sent me, you could have contacted me by telephone. You could have said, look, we've received the safeguarding alert. I'm just checking up on Talib. You've acted deceptively, all right? And then you're saying to me...
I did try and call
you. You did try to call me, I think around about 9:45, and then came down straight away, all right? Like it was an emergency, like you never, like there's like you got nothing better to do. And then you've come down, you've knocked on the door, you've not left a letter or a note why you've come down, all right? And then you proceeded to send me a message in the afternoon telling me, not mentioning the fact that you've been down in this morning. You just said, I'm just checking up on Talib. That is not acting with openness and transparency. That's acting with malevolence. And then you're saying, I'm accusing you of being antagonistic. I mean, there's a very different approach you could have taken. Rather than coming down, you could have left it, you could have sought clarity, or somebody else could have sought clarity, because this is malicious. Now, the purpose of this call today, obviously, is I'm trying to determine that, the penny's finally dropped. Because, like look, Mr. Browell, if I'm acting malevolently, if I'm acting deceptively, if I'm acting with a fraudulent intent, I'm not going to tell you that, am I? I'm going to make you understand that I'm acting legitimately. All right? And on the surface of it, you're going to believe, any third party would believe me, oh, look, I'm acting honorably. So when you get, like I mentioned, when you get, telephone calls from Nigerian princes saying that they want to put money into your bank account, that seems, they're not going to say we're committing a fraud. They're saying, look, we're acting legitimately. So they give you that impression. All right? It's only later when you realize, well, actually, wait on a minute, that didn't make any sense. They've attempted to dupe me here, and that's what's happened under these circumstances. Because it's not just yourself, Mr. Browell, because obviously you're just one piece in a big jigsaw puzzle. All the pieces are now. I can sit back and take a perspective of what's happened here. Something happened in August, which was when we last spoke. All right, as a result of which my benefit money has stopped unilaterally without being, without advising me. So all the money stopped. When we said we don't want the money, you've stopped my benefit money. Or not you personally, but the council have got in touch with the DWP to unilaterally stop my benefit money. So we've not received any benefit money from August. All right. On the one hand, on the other hand, we're telling you we don't want the money because it's degrading and humiliating to us. So it seems that my life is being engineered by other people, which is to me and my brother and my mother's detriment. All right. And as a result of which my mother has died. So you cannot, with respect, you're an intelligent person. You cannot say, well, we're just doing standard practice here. There's nothing standard about what's happening with me and my brother, is there? Now, obviously, I want to know what's happened regarding the safeguarding alert. Hence, why my call to you today, because obviously, I need evidence, or I need disclosure of what the concern was.
I've already explained what the concern was.
Can you tell me what time you received the alert?
No, it was some point on the Wednesday.
Was it on the Wednesday or the Thursday?
I think it's on the Wednesday. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so on the very same day that. So the time is now very important because they attended at 2:00.
Right.
So can you tell me what time you received the alert? That's a very basic question.
I'm having a look at the emails.
Okay.
Can't really see anything, but yeah. I don't know who it was who sent me the email. I've tried to search for Manningham Housing, but it doesn't.
But you received an email on Wednesday, didn't you?
Yes, I believe it did. Yeah.
So because the thing is, when we last spoke, I got the impression that you received the email so Wednesday was the 12th of October, and
Actually, I got it on Thursday.
Yeah. So you got it on what time on Thursday?
Like dinner time.
Okay, all right. Because that's what I've gone to Manningham and told them that you sent something on Thursday, because that's the information you've given me, and they're saying to me that you're just going through a phishing exercise. All right. So I'm trying to get information out of them. I'm not trying to get information out of them. I'm just going on the information that's been given to me. So you've received an email. You have that email in front of you, yes?
I've got an email, yeah.
All right. What's the contents of the email?
Like I said, he said that they were worried about the condition of the property, and they were just letting me know because they understand that I am Talib's social worker.
Okay.
So, and that these concerns were raised because contract is visited the day before.
I see. Okay. So what time was that sent to you?
That was at 12:00.
Okay, and that was sent by Manningham Housing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, Mr. Browell, just in this conversation right here, right now, you understand, you've told me one thing, which is now contradictory. You told me that you only got information from the safeguarding team, so they would have alerted the safeguarding team, all right? And the safeguarding team had closed down the case and, obviously informed you. So if you're reading to me an email from Manningham Housing, quite clearly that's contradictory, isn't it?
That's what, sorry?
You see, just
I think I've received an email from Manningham Housing letting me know that they made a safeguarding referral, and then I think I received a phone call from safeguarding saying that they would be closing the alert. I do need to get off the phone now, please.
Yeah, well, with respect, I mean, what we resolved today. Look, with respect, what have we resolved today? Moving on from this topic, because you've told me at 12 o'clock on the 13th of October, Manningham Housing has said that their agents visit the day before and advised Manningham that there was a concern regarding the premises inside. Yes.
The poor condition of the property.
Yeah, the poor condition of the property inside, because obviously you saw the condition outside. There was no. Would you not agree that there was no poor quality on the outside?
It didn't seem to be in poor condition on the outside.
It would not concern any third party agent, namely a contractor, would it? Just being on the outside, and they had not come inside the property, as I explained. All right, they had just stepped inside, and then I told them to leave. So they had made a false alert at 12 o'clock or to you. So that's fair enough. I mean, I have got all the information I need. That's fair enough. Thank you for that transparency. But the next thing I need to discuss with you is my brother's disabled badge. All right, because that's something that's becoming an issue now, because it's been 3 years that my brother's had this disabled badge. Can you understand that in the absence of any money that Talib's now receiving, any kind of social care support that he's receiving, any kind of involvement of medication or doctors or NHS or anybody else, I need the disabled badge to get him to take him out. So
I can print an application form off. I can drop the application form off at the home address at some point with a supporting letter.
With a supporting letter?
Yeah.
Okay, but why don't you email me it?
Usually, I print the forms off and it's in paper form, but I consider whether I can email it. That's possible as well.
Because obviously you're going to say you're going to print something off and you're going to post it to the letterbox, make a letter of recommendation, when all this can be done by email rather than you traveling down to the property, innit?
Probably isn't an issue.
And is it not correct that to date, since we've been speaking for over a year now, that you've not sent me one email, have you?
I don't think I have, no.
Have you received instructions not to send me any emails?
Not in so many words, but I'm just very aware of, you ask me to find out information, and then I try and find your information, and then you ask me to find out more information, and it's kind of a bit endless, to be honest, Shazad.
So
that's why I'm a bit concerned about starting to reply to emails, because it's more than likely it will just make things more problematic.
Well, with respect, you said that I have asked you a simple question. Have you been instructed to not liaise with me by email? And you said not in those words, not in those terms. That's correct, yes?
I don't think so. I think it's been advised when you send emails not to click on links and things like that.
No, but this is not about. Okay, that's fair enough, because as you can understand, there is a certain concern that they may be malicious, but that's fair enough. But the bottom line is that to date, it's evident to me that your managers are telling you how to react to things. Hence why you would rather come down and deliver a form rather than send it via email. And in fact, you've been liaising through email channel of communication with Manningham Housing. You've sent them emails, they've sent you emails, they've made you aware that there's a concern, all right? Obviously, I need a copy of this. So can you just send me a copy of the email that you've received from Manningham? That's all I've asked for.
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
Why is that?
To do that without because it wasn't sent to you, was it?
It was not sent. I've just explained to you that look, somebody's done something malicious. All right, they made a malicious alert. I'm telling you now that they did not enter the property. There's a court proceeding going on. All right. So what? The next issue is that there's an issue regarding my brother's disabled badge, which is a simple, straightforward issue, which is complicated by the fact that you are acting as the council, are acting as a DWP appointee. No, under normal circumstances, I can make the application myself. But it can't take place like it didn't take place 3 years ago because there was some confusion over who his DWP appointee is. So there's that issue to be dealt with. There's a serious issue that my brother is now in court proceedings. All right. What are you, the council, doing to represent him in court proceedings?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, to be honest.
Well, no, I mean, this is the Manningham Housing are taking litigation action against us to kick us out of the property. So here's your client, which you're saying, look, you're acting in my brother's best interest. This is his home. He's lived here since 2004, since his release into the community in 2005 from your very organized city mental health team. All right, this house was his. He's lived here all his life. All right, and now he's facing eviction. And now you've got power of attorney over him. You've got deputyship over him. You've got control over his finances and everything. So there is a critical thing happening, and you're saying that it's got nothing. We don't know what we're doing. Is it not true that it seems to me that you're waiting for a crisis to happen in order for you to tend to have leverage over the situation?
There's not very much I can do because I haven't spoken with Talib in however many months, and I'm not able to see him, so it's difficult.
I'm sorry.
How I can support him.
No, well, you can support him by, with respect, you have seen him. You came to our house. He asked you the question, how much money have I got? You couldn't even tell him how much money he's got, and he's saying that's standard practice. That's not standard. If I've got your money, Mr. Browell, you don't understand that. You have a right to know how much money you've got. You're saying it's standard practice not to tell somebody. That is just basically a cop-out. That is just basically wrong. Everybody has a right to know how much money somebody's holding, all right? And that is just a basic, and you can say to me, no, it's just standard practice. It's only standard practice, all right, when the person's totally out of it. My brother has asked you with full, without my coaching or anything, that, look, how much money have I got? And you're saying it's standard practice that he doesn't get, so you couldn't help in that regards. I'm mentioning to you the fact that his disability badge is up for renewal. That needs to take place because obviously you're not providing with any support services. The support services that I'm providing you with, namely taking him out to recreational places, is going to be limited or sabotaged by your failure to comply. He's facing eviction from his property. He's already had a county court injunction put against him in order to gain access to the property. So there are serious issues that are happening in my brother's world. He's elected me to represent him, which you're failing to recognize. You're saying I'm preventing you, or I'm stopping you from seeing him. I've explained to you that you've seen him. He does not want to engage with you people because you're quite clearly taking advantages of his disability and vulnerability. Mr. Browell, on a personal note, it has taken me over 9 months to rehabilitate him, all right? Only now is he showing signs of improvement, considering the fact that he was made homeless in 2021 and suffered a great deal of weight loss, mental anxiety and depression, especially surrounding the fact that he didn't get to see his own mother for the last year of his life, the fact that his mother's been murdered by you, the council. That is traumatic that would be traumatic to you. And yet here I am, with little resources in order to have now rehabilitated. He's on the slow mend of rehabilitation. I've taken him into his mum's grave. I'm taking him out to the recreation activities. I can slightly see signs of improvement. And what you want to do is you want to just come in here and once again set him back, and destabilize him so you can you the council can plunder and profiteer from him. So these are things that obviously I need to speak to you about. All right, and you're saying, well, what do you want him to say? He signed over his authority letter. He's, told you in no uncertain terms that I represent him. He's told you and your predecessor to fuck off and leave him alone. It's just badgering and it's just very, very disdainful. And Mr. Browell, you're fully aware of what's going on, and yet you seem to give me the impression that no, you seem to put forward this facade that you're ignorant of what's going on here. You clearly know what's going on here. My brother has capacity, all right? No deprivation of liberty assessments have been taken place. Nothing like this has taken place, and yet he's deprived of his freedom and liberties, and he's facing eviction. So the only reason that I'm speaking to you, Mr. Browell, is because your senior managers, particularly Kirsten England and all the way down, all right, to the city solicitors and everybody else, is refusing to engage with me. They've told me that I'm a vexatious complainer. Yet I've provided them with legislation that states that I, as a nearest person to Talib, can act on his behalf and raise complaints. So, with respect, Mr. Browell, you're not open and transparent with me. I'm asking you for the email that you received. This is so I can report it to the police. This matter needs to be reported to the police because it's wasted taxpayers' money, it's wasted your money and resources in order to come down unilaterally. But can you understand? It seems to me that there's a coordinated effort to further victimize me and my brother Talib. We're going through a great deal of anxiety and distress because of what's been orchestrated by a joint enterprise. So, with respect, if you don't want to send us the email, that's fair enough. There'll be consequences to that. I've had it confirmed from you that this was sent by the Manningham Housing. That's fair enough. I'll have to rely upon that. But that matter is now going to have to be reported to the courts or the police or something, that this is a malicious allegation. All right, which is looking to destabilize us at a time when they're pursuing legal action. So what I'm not interested in your duty of care. I'm interested in bringing a resolution. There's no resolution, is there? So we're trying to. I'm trying to resolve things because I want to get on with my life, and you're just trying to just muddy the waters further. So what resolution can we have regarding his money? No resolution. Either you take the £250 or not. That's it, isn't it? £250 a month that you're going to give us, all right, or not, all right? Otherwise, we can just starve to death.
Yeah, it's not within my control.
I know, Mr. Browell. You're just you're just a puppet on a string dancing to the council's tune. I understand that. They said don't shoot the messenger, right? And I understand you're just a messenger. But you're the only point of contact I've got with the council, who are refusing to speak to me, asking me to put things in writing. When I put things in writing, they're twisting what I've written and they're not replying, or just being idiotic about things. In order to just delay things. So, but can you understand his money situation? There's no avenue to get his money resolved, is there? It's been over 4 years. It's been since 2016. He's not had access to his own money. All right, that's what 6 years ago. He's not receiving any social care money from yourself as a council before he was receiving £410 a week. Right now, the situation is that we're facing homelessness. And you're saying, well, that's got nothing to do with me. How is that not got nothing to do with you? Can you not see this is a crisis in the making?
Sorry?
Can you not see that this is just a crisis that can be avoided in the making? Because what's happening is that the local authority are buying off the judges for an outcome. All right? That's what's happening here. So there's nothing I can do about it. There's no point me getting a solicitor. I have got solicitors in the past. The local authority buys off the solicitors. Never mind buying off the solicitors. The local authority is buying off my own family members. Now, did you receive my email that I included you in on Friday?
I think I saw an email that you sent, yeah.
Okay, all right. And in that email, it's evidence to me that what's happened is that my brother Adalat, all right, has been working with the council, with your organization, in order to further entrap me. Did you see the attachment?
I think so.
Yes,
yeah.
And in the attachment, it's quite evident that my brother Adalat gave my brother Talib said, give me my money. He gave him a card, all right, and in that card there was only £2,000 or something, all right. So I assisted my brother to take that money out. I assisted my brother Talib, and yet that became an alert that I had stolen the money. So quite clearly, Adalat is working with you, the council. So I'm not even making the allegation that the solicitors are being bought off. I'm not even making the allegation that the judges are being bought off or the courts are being bought off. That's very simple because it's just got to do with money. They're already working, so they can be bought off. You, the council, are buying off my own siblings. All right, hence why the £250. I've asked you that question before. Why £250? That's a decision that's been made by Nadia Khan, Vicina Brown, your managers, that don't give him any more money than £250. So do you understand now why there's £250, that unique sum of £250 has popped up?
No, I don't understand the link to that. But
£250 is what was ordered by Adalat to give us. Don't give him any more money than £250 a week. No, sorry, £250 a month. So that's instructions that Adalat has received. How, and the point that I'm trying to make here is that under what legal authority has Bradford Council been in a position to give instructions and directions to Adalat? Have you spoken to Adalat? Have you spoken to Adalat?
I might have spoken to him once. I think it was maybe when we didn't know where Talib was, and it was just to see if he'd actually seen Talib. That was a few months ago.
Wait on a minute. You have not seen Talib a few months ago?
Hmm?
But you spoke to Adalat a few months ago.
I think so. I'm not sure. I know I've tried to call him because I wasn't able to see Talib.
Wait on a minute. What do you mean?
Yeah.
When were you not able to see Talib?
I don't know. A while ago.
When was it?
Probably towards the start of the year, something like that.
Wait on a minute. This doesn't make any sense. Look, see, once again, you keep on tripping up. You saw Talib in May, didn't you? When he said how much money was it not the fact that you saw him in April and May?
I think it was before that, though. Yeah. So you asked me a question, I give you an answer.
But the answer that you gave me is that you didn't see Talib a couple of months ago.
I didn't say a couple of months ago, several months ago. So
Several months ago is several months ago is a couple, isn't it? Or 2 or 3 months ago. You saw him in May, and
no, it was longer ago than that. If I have spoken with Adala, it's quite some time ago.
Okay, and all right. So if you say it's quite some time ago, we're in October now. January is the start of the year. So when did you not get to see Talib start of the year?
I think actually, I think it was Valley who maybe spoke to him, not me.
Okay, so can you see how the goalposts keep on changing? First you say I spoke to Adalat a couple of months ago, all right? Then it was several months ago. Now it wasn't me, it was Bali.
It was in December 2021.
So it's in December 2021 that Bali spoke to Adalat. So Bali has been speaking to Adalat, yes. And the question I asked you, when was the last time you spoke to Adalat?
So I haven't spoke to him.
So how would you get confused on that point where having spoken, Adalat, you've never spoken to him, have you?
I don't think so, no, but I've got our look and go office looking back over notes.
So you can't remember, you can't...
I do remember the important thing was that we didn't know where Talib was. So there's a way, a bit like you said, like to call your family like your mates or speak with your neighbours.
Okay, all right.
One way of trying to make sure it was...
Okay, all right. But this is now concerning to me because you know where you've always known where Talib was because in December you did a safeguarding alert, or in November when the police came and saw him.
Okay.
So you had come down several times to Oldham, all right. So you can see now things are unraveling. That you're saying that you spoke to Adalat. What did Adalat say? What did he say? What did he say regarding where Talib was?
Well, I don't think it's as I said, it's Talib who's the patient. So I'm not here to kind of just read anything out and go back over notes.
Yes, but no, that's fair enough. But look, can you understand that this is the same pretext and excuse that the council used regarding my mum, saying, "Oh, we don't know where she is." What do you think and then you've come down specifically that email that I've sent you on Friday, which was on the end of February 2019, where allegations were being made that I've kidnapped my own mother from our house, and you don't know where my mum is. So can you understand that this is a standard practice where you the council say, look, oh, we've got a vulnerable person and we don't know where they are. All right, and so we get the police involved, and we start going hunting for people and attacking people. That's what you do. That's standard practice, isn't it? So you just highlighted to me that in November, when the police had come down, in December you were attempting to speak to and saying we don't know where Talib is. You've always known where Talib is. He's either here. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Where are we going to run off to? All right, that's just malicious, isn't it? So you the council are abusing your processes, all right, that are designed to safeguard vulnerable people. You abuse those processes and you do something malevolent, and then you say, oh no, we're not doing anything. You safeguarding is on the basis where you have serious concerns regarding vulnerable people. There are vulnerable people dying out there, and hence why I mentioned to you Mr. Winston Williams, the chess player who died. There was no safeguarding alerts then when concerns were being raised by the family. You didn't do anything then. Here I am, your point of contact, point that you can call me, you can email me, you can telephone me. You're not looking to do this. You're just going to the police and saying, we got a missing person, safeguarding, missing person. So you're trying to antagonize the situation. All right, that was very traumatic for Talib and for me, because you had raised this false flag safeguarding alert to Manchester Police that we've got a missing person here. All right, when you knew exactly where my brother was living, and then so you see, you do this all the time. And hence why I'm now speaking to you, because another safeguarding alert has happened. You can make the allegation, I've not seen Talib, therefore he's a missing person. You can make the allegation, can't you? And you can get the police involved. You can get the police involved, and once again kick our door in and traumatize us, saying we're only doing our duty of care, acting in the best interest of Talib, when the reality is that you're acting with malevolence. Since we last spoke, have you spoken to my niece, Shagufta?
No, I haven't.
Have you spoken to my neighbour?
No.
Will you be speaking to them?
I haven't got any particular plans to speak to them now.
Okay, do you have any further ongoing concerns?
Well, I think it'd still be good to be able to see Talib.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But Talib, like I said, he doesn't want to see you. Do you have any other safeguarding concerns?
Not at this particular moment.
Yes,
in time,
okay.
no.
All right, so you got no safeguarding concerns at this moment in time, where the option is always open to you. I've got some serious safeguarding concerns regarding my brother Talib. His medical records have gone missing. All right? You've had contact with his GP. He's got effectively no means of getting any NHS support right now because of your malevolence in the past. I've spoken to his previous doctor's surgery, which is Sun Valley. They've told me that the council have got in touch with them. At the time, your predecessor, Bali Noah, was giving them instructions not to do this, to arrange Dr. Todd's visit. As a consequence, they have then made allegations that I was being a verbally abusive and aggressive, false allegation, which has meant that Talib has now changed surgeries to Greenbank practice. And it's the same shenanigans again. Right, so that's a serious safeguarding concern that I have, that my brother's medical records have gone missing, because when I've made a subject access request for his medical records, they're saying conveniently that we've got no medical records prior to 2019. So somebody senior, all right, higher up than the doctor's surgery, somebody higher up in the NHS has deleted my brother's medical records prior to 2019. Is that not a concern to you?
It's not something that I'd be able to comment on. I'm not aware of that.
But look, I'm raising this as a safeguarding alert directly to you. So when Manningham Housing have sent you an email saying, maliciously that, the poor conditions, looking to raise a safeguarding alert, when previously Manningham Housing have made inquiries with you in writing that, is there any safeguarding alerts regarding Talib? And you've replied to them, said, no, at this moment in time, we have no concerns regarding Talib being in the care of his brother that we have previously criminally convicted convicted of financially fraud against his own brother. We've got no concern. So that's a conversation that's happened. Recently, the Manningham Housing have attempted to trigger a safeguarding alert in order to undermine our legal case. So they've told you a safeguarding concern. You've taken that seriously, where you ended up coming to our door the following day on the 14th of October. Now I'm making you aware because you're going to claim ignorance that you don't know. I'm raising a safeguarding concern right now that somebody has destroyed my brother's medical records prior to 2019 at Greenbank Medical Practice, a practice that you've been liaising with in the background. So what are you going to do about this?
I'm not sure what I can do about it, to be honest, Shazad.
Well, wait a minute. So your particular role is simply to act as a mouthpiece for the, or as an earpiece for the council, all right? To listen to what I'm saying, to act as a mouthpiece for whatever decision the council's made. This is a very serious issue that I'm trying to get a resolution to. That my brother's medical records have been tampered with, and interfered with, and destroyed. All right? That's a very serious issue. That's a very serious issue. All right? And you know what's alarming and concerning to me is that this is exactly what happened in my mum's case. Prior to my mum being murdered by you, the council, prior to you, the council, taking possession of her and kicking me and Talib out of our home, her medical records were being manipulated to a point where I had reported this to the Manchester police. That look, somebody's interfering with my mother's medical records. And it was the same practice, Greenback practice, that was saying that we don't have your mother's medical records. So somebody higher up in the NHS, no doubt Mr. Mark Trewin, all right, who now works for the NHS, who is seconded to the NHS, is destroying my family members' records. So what's going to be doing about this?
I don't know. It's something you'd have to kind of talk about with Greenbank, I think.
Yeah, something that I'm having to speak with Greenbank, who are refusing to speak to me because you've been liaising with them. When was the last time you spoke to Greenbank?
A long time ago.
No, it was not a long time ago, Mr. Browell. That's not correct. Look in your records. When did you last speak to Green?
No, I need to get off the phone now. We've gone round in circles.
We're not going. What? How are we?
I'm not here to just answer every question that you've got.
Mr. Browell, how have we gone around in circles? The first thing I wanted to gain clarity on was the safeguarding alert. You've informed me of the date and time and what was said. So that's quite. And you're refusing to send me the email, which I can use as evidence to report the matter to the police. We've moved on from that. We've then discussed issues regarding my brother's disability badge. All right. You said to me you're going to come down and give the application. I said, why don't you just email it to me? All right. That issue is now a concern. That's a concern. We've then moved on the conversation regarding.
I might be able to email it, or I might just put it in the post.
No. Why don't you? But but then you've highlighted to me that in some uncertain terms that you've been told not to communicate with me via email. All right. So we moved on from that conversation. Then we moved on to the situation regarding, obviously the concerns I have regarding the Adalat's, the email that I sent you on Friday regarding the collusion between Bradford Council, Bradford District Care Trust, and my brother Adalat, where you've been giving him instructions and he's been giving you instructions, informing you that the bank card that my brother Talib had money's been taken out of it. There's that two-way channel of communication, which you can read from the email that I sent to you on Friday, which quite clearly shows a safeguarding a meeting taking place. All right, and it's at that meeting on the 28th of February 2019 that Nadia Khan is desperately asking people to make a statement that my brother lacks mental capacity. So there you go. And then obviously the very following day, as the email says, Vicina Brown has come to see my brother in Oldham at my sister's house on the 1st of March, which you confirmed to me previously, where you're saying that he has capacity. And then, you're saying the fact that it's standard practice not to tell you how much money we're retaining of his. So then the conversations moved on to what Adalat's done and your collusion with them. And then finally, I've told you the fact that there's this very serious safeguarding issue that I'm trying to address with Greenbank, who have received instructions from you, the Bradford Council, not to talk to me or not to engage with me or not to, tell me what's going on, that his medical records have been destroyed. So how are we going around in circles?
I need to get off the phone. She said, I can't just, I'm not here to just answer all your questions.
Who is though? But you know the thing is, who is here to answer the question? There's a very I'm in a despairing situation that you, the council, have created. My brother's not received access to his own benefit money since 2016. Something malevolent's happening. He's not received a single penny for the last couple of years. All right, over a year and stuff. You know, I'm the only one that's here looking after his best interest. We're now facing a situation which the local authority have orchestrated, where we're going to become homeless. All right, and that's going to endanger my brother's life. What is the council doing about this? So you're saying you're not here to answer the questions. So, but what you, the council, are here to do is sit back, get other people to move pieces on a chessboard that are looking to attack me. So you're giving instructions to Manningham Housing effectively to pursue litigation actions. Then you're giving instructions to Bradford Combined Courts, Bradford County Court to fast track Manningham Housing's application. Then you're getting Bradford Council is buying off the judges to railroad an outcome. All right. So there's malevolence taking place there. So you're sitting back and you're giving instructions to Adalat. You're giving instructions to Shagufta to come down to see the situation, because that's why I mentioned Shagufta, because Shagufta was instructed to come down to see us on the 11th of September so she could raise a safeguarding alert. That didn't happen because we didn't give her entry to the property, and we went to see her outside in a third party where she saw my brother. All right. So she was quite clear. So you're giving instructions to my niece to raise false flag alerts. When that's all failed, then Manningham has then had to raise the safeguarding alert, which would then empower you to break into the property and do what exactly, I don't know, do further destabilizers. That's not happened. All right. Now you're in the situation and you're saying you have to get off, but you're the one that's engaging with me. Because in August I told you you're not going to help us. You're just personally victimizing us. We're in this conversation today, Mr. Browell, because you've come down to see to the property without an appointment, without any invitation, but under instruction and directions of Manningham Housing. So that's why we're having this conversation. Yes. All right, so that's the reason that we're having this conversation, is because action that you've taken. So when you've taken an action and it's all kind of messed up now, and I'm thinking, well, wait on a minute, I've just caught you committing fraud. I've just caught you committing lies. I've just caught you committing theft. Or are you saying, no, we don't want to talk to you now. I'm sorry, but it's just standard practice, and you're pusillanimously running away from the scene. What's happened here? I want to know. Why has Manningham Housing raised a false flag alert at a time when they're pursuing litigation action to make us homeless? Why has that happened? Why has my brother's medical records...
I would have thought it's because nobody's seen Talib, Shazad. That's why.
But what? Okay, all right. So if...
the last time the Talib was seen. So
but what? Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Is that your reason? That's why Manningham has raised a false flag safeguarding alert? What's that got to do with Manningham? Tell me, what has that got to do with Manningham? They're a housing association. They're not here to see Talib. They've not come down to see Talib. So why is Manningham Housing raising a false flag safeguarding alert when they were not supposed to? They've not made any attempts to see Talib. All right. What they've done is that they've got. See, this is what's happened. Something happened in August, and you were part of it, Mr. Browell. You were fully aware that Manningham Housing were instructed, all right, in August to raise a false flag safeguard and not to take litigation actions to gain entry to the property to do a gas safety check. All right, that's what happened in August. On the 23rd of August, they put in an application. They didn't make me aware of it. The first time I became aware of it, their application, which succeeded, was in 22nd of September for a hearing that took place on the 30th of September. All right, because and it was railroaded through, and no adjournment happened. The courts got bought off. Manningham Housing got bought off. The courts got bought off. The judge got bought off, and an injunction was ordered for the 12th of October to come to the property. Manningham Housing then gave instructions to who was supposed to be a independent gas safety inspector to inspect the property and then say that there was debilitating conditions inside the property. I was fully onto this fraud from day one, They were not allowed to enter the property. They came in, stepped inside. I told them, here's a gas safety inspection that I've carried out privately. Get out of the property. They've then proceeded to do exactly as the plan was, to raise a false flag alert. It's inconceivable for Manningham Housing to raise a safeguarding alert to you when their agents had not entered the property. All right. Now that safeguarding alert has happened, which has then necessitated you coming down on Friday, the 14th of October. All right. That's what's happened. So that's a very serious fraud that's been put in place through a joint enterprise, coordinated effort, not just you as Bradford District Care Trust, not just you as Bradford Council social workers, but Manningham Housing. It's also been orchestrated by Bradford Combined Courts. It's also been orchestrated by District Judge Foster. It's also been orchestrated by the Department of Work and Pensions. It's also been orchestrated by the Greenbank Medical Practice. So all of you people have colluded and conspired in order to raise this issue, to facilitate this. And it's all gone tits up now. All right? It's all gone tits up. Because my niece saw my brother. I can tell you now exactly that she saw him on Sunday, the 10th of October. All right? So she's seen him on the 10th of October. My niece Shagufta B is your agent. All right? She works for you. She takes instructions from you, just as my brother Adala takes instructions from you. All right? And it was an event that was photographed. All right, I can present you with photographs and stuff. So the reality is that he has been seen by people. It's just that you need now to make raise an event. All right, I'm sorry, it was not the 10th of October. It was the 9th of October. So on the 9th of October, my niece has seen my brother. He's not gone missing. He's not been kidnapped by me. All right, he's on a slow mental recovery. So we're here today, and you're saying I don't want to talk to you. All of you. The Department of Work and Pensions, Greenbank GP practice in Oldham, all right, Manningham Housing Association, but more importantly, the courts and tribunal services and District Judge Foster have just been caught out committing a fraud. Because it is inconceivable that Manningham Housing would have raised a safeguarding alert to you when it's not in their remit to know where my brother Talib is. So can you give me an explanation of what's happened?
Of what, sorry?
Can you give me an explanation of what has happened? What happened in August that has facilitated Manningham Housing, who are pursuing litigation action to make us homeless? Why would they raise a safeguarding alert to you regarding the quality of the interior of the property, when they had not gained entry to the property, but had gotten an unlawful injunction to gain entry to the property?
No, I can't. I don't.
Okay, and the reason that you can't, and the reason you can't give that answer is because you know that this is a fraud. This is a joint enterprise, coordinated effort by Bradford Council to abduct my brother again. All right. Hence why, when they previously abducted my brother on the 3rd of August 2018 and had him in his care and custody for 3 years, you had carried out a mental capacity assessment which concluded that my brother has capacity. Hence why his medical records have now been deleted. Hence why Greenbank practice are now being dodgy and not being dealing with us. Prior to January 2019, evidence exists in my brother's medical records that shows that he has mental capacity. All right. In the absence of that, I have now got your internal safeguarding multidisciplinary meeting, which says that my brother, there's no evidence that my brother lacks mental capacity on the 28th of February 2019. So this is quite clearly a joint enterprise fraud that you've been caught in. And nobody wants to talk to me now. You're fully aware of this, Mr. Browell, because you had involvement. This happened, this joint enterprise, multidisciplinary meeting, this strategy and plan happened in August, all right, when I was still talking to you. And after August's meeting, and after our conversation in August this year, you said, all right, you don't need to speak. We don't need to speak to each other, because you knew something was going to happen, and that's not happened right now. All right, and so therefore you are fully part of this joint enterprise fraud, and this very same joint enterprise between multiple agencies is what has led to my mother's murder. Earlier,
I didn't know anything about that injunction, Shazad. I think it was you who told me about the injunction. I wasn't aware.
Mr. Browell, there was no injunction in August, okay? But there was obviously you were part of a meeting that would have resulted that obviously you're one cog, you understand? You're not being fully informed, but you were part of a meeting that took place in August where the plan was hatched. There was no injunction at the time. Between in the middle of August 2022, a plan was concocted by Bradford Council in collaboration with the courts, in collaboration with the Manningham Housing Solicitor. That what we're going to do is we're going to do attempt to do a gas safety inspection. If he refuses, we're going to put an application in. That application is going to be fast tracked, all right. And so when it's fast tracked, we will gain an injunction by bribing the judges. That all unfortunately took an expedient, exceptionally long time. And the reason I am assuming that it's taken more time because it should have all happened in September, all right. But the Queen died, so because the Queen died and there was obviously bank holidays, that has necessitated a delay in the enterprise to gain unlawful entry. Because you understand, Mr. Browell, that now the local authority are desperate to get their clutches on my brother Talib to say the fact that they're going to take care of him, considering that they've got all his money and they're going to take over his house and they're going to do everything. So the local authorities' plan right now is to take my brother from my care under some pretext that I'm not looking after him properly, all right, under pretext that it's in his best interest, where you've already taken £70,000, 70 to £75,000 from Adalat. You've already accumulated over 3 years of his benefit money, which no doubt is going to be another 40, £50,000. So let's just say that's £40,000 in 3 years, or £30,000 as a conservative figure. That's £100,000. Then you're going to take over his property, maybe another £100,000. So you then are going to have my brother's over £200,000 in cash of my brother, and then what you're going to do is you're going to say we're going to put in his best interest, we're going to put into one of our colleagues or one of our agents' care home, and you're going to swindle all his money off him. At the same time, while you've been saving £410 that you had been paying him for the last 10 years since July 2012, that you've not been paying him any social care money. So this is the plan, isn't it? That is exactly what you've done in my mum's case, where you've taken over all her money, all right, and then forced care upon her by kicking me and my brother out of the house, and forced care upon her then to swindle all her money, and then eventually murdered her off. That is the plan right now for my brother. All you've managed to achieve so far is buy off District Judge Beckley at the Court of Protection to railroad through a deputyship order to take control of his finances. Who is responsible for my brother's health and welfare right now?
Well, I think is that being contested yourself or?
Well, no, obviously, you, the local authority, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have removed both my lasting power of attorney for property and finances and health and welfare. You, the local authority, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have bought off the District Judge Beckley at the Court of Protection to appoint yourself as my brother's deputy. So you're in charge of his finances, right? You know that and I know that, right? So you're in charge of his finances. So what? You're not in charge of his. Who's in charge of his health and welfare? Considering this is a vulnerable adult in the community that has, is doubly incontinent, that has mental health problems, that has mobility issues, and is presently facing an eviction. Who is responsible to make decisions for his health and welfare today? When my lasting power of it.
I'm not sure she's that. I'm not completely.
Yeah. So with regards to giving me instructions to get him a GP in Bradford, I cannot do anything regarding his GP because you, the local authority, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have suspended his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare. Because you said we have to suspend the health and welfare proper lasting power of attorney, which was made in April 2019. Okay, you've suspended that one. Because you said, well, also he's done a lasting power of attorney for his property and finances. So we can't either And the reason that you suspended the lasting power of attorney for property and finances is because you, the Bradford Council, have criminally convicted me of defrauding Talib his money. So you can't have that in place. Because if the lasting power of attorney for his property and finances stays in place, your criminal conviction falls apart. So you've therefore removed the lasting power of attorney for property and finances and made yourself a deputy for his property and finances. But the question remains, what about his health and welfare? Who's making decisions for his health and welfare, considering this is a vulnerable person out in the community under a Section 117, the most highly vulnerable person in society, considering he's doubly incontinent, got mental health problems, got physical problems, and is suffering a bereavement of his mother being murdered. Who's making decisions regarding his health and welfare?
I'm not sure who is,
Yeah, because there's nobody right now. You've removed the lasting power of attorney. You, the council, cannot make decisions regarding his health and welfare. There has to be a new proceedings that you have to instigate in the court protection and buy off more judges. You have only got halfway to what you achieved in my mother's case, all right, which equally left her in a situation where nobody was able to make decisions regarding her health and welfare at a time at the height of the coronavirus. All right. At the height of the coronavirus, my mother has given me lasting power of attorney to make decisions regarding her end of life. You, the council, you, the housing association, you, the council, you, the office of the public guardian, had removed her lasting power of attorney. But you didn't put anybody in place. That's highly irresponsible. See, if you're going to remove the lasting power of attorney for property and finances, and you have to put somebody else in place, you can't leave that as a void. You've nominated yourself because you're going to get money out of this. You can use that money for your own benefit. But what about his health and welfare? Is that not a safeguarding concern to you? Because, I can't make decisions regarding his health and welfare. I've not been able to make decisions regarding his health and welfare since 2019, when since 2021, or no, sorry, since 2020, when these have been suspended. So since 2020, since December 2020, you've left my brother in a very vulnerable situation where his brother cannot make decisions regarding his health and welfare. Neither can you, the council. Neither can the GPs. Nobody can make decisions. So if he dies today, whose fault is it? No, this is
between you supporting Talib, you will be able to make those decisions.
No, I can't make those decisions because I have no legal capacity to make those decisions. Because you're saying on the one hand, Talib does not have mental capacity. I've given you a mental capacity report. You said no, we don't accept that. We're just going to ignore that. So how can I make health and welfare decisions regarding you?
No.
Why not?
Because you haven't got a right to make those decisions.
Okay.
Maybe because I've got.
All right, because you've got capacity. Okay. So does Talib have capacity?
Well, that's what's being contested.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So you're saying because you understand, I don't have a right to make decisions regarding your health and welfare. So I don't have that right. But you can give me that right, can't you?
Okay.
So you can authorize me to act on your behalf, can't you?
Yes.
Okay, right. Because you have mental capacity, you can authorize me to act on your behalf. You can do something else. You can be more formal about it and give me a lasting power of attorney for health and welfare, can't you?
I believe so, yeah.
So that's exactly what the same situation for Talib. If Talib, you're saying lacks mental capacity, he can't give me authority to act on his behalf, take instructions from him, and you've removed the lasting power of attorney. So how can I act on his behalf legally? What right do I have to make decisions regarding Talib's health and welfare when I can't make health and welfare decisions regarding you? What's the difference? Yeah, there's no difference, is there? Because as far as you're concerned, I have no legal rights. Talib has, in his having capacity, has authorized me to act on his behalf. You've sabotaged that, said no, we're bringing that into question. So that's not a valid thing from your part. Also, he's formally registered a lasting power of attorney with the Office of the Public Guardian, which you, the council, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have removed. But that's acting irresponsibly. That's acting negligently Because since you've suspended his lasting power of attorney, you've not put anybody else in place to make those decisions. And you've not instigated legal proceedings at this stage. And hence why, Mr. Browell, does it all make sense now? Hence why you, the council, have instructed Manningham Housing Association to instigate litigation action regarding a gas safety check so you can gain entry to the property, so Manningham Housing can raise a false flag safeguarding alert, so you can then say, well, Mr. Hussain, his brother is neglecting him, he's in poor quality of condition, we're now going to take charge of the situation, and we're going to ask the Court of Protection, namely District Judge Beckley, to once again prostitute out his services to us, so we now in charge of his health and welfare. Because you're not in charge of his health and welfare right now. And the attempt to gain entry or gain access to my brother through malevolent means has all failed now. So the question once remains, and I'm now raising this as a second safeguarding to alert to you on this telephone call, is that why is my brother left in a position where there's nobody legally able to make health and welfare decisions on his behalf, when you, the council, are saying that he doesn't have mental capacity, and you, the council, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have removed his lasting power of attorney, which he signed in my favour. So that's a second safeguarding alert that I'm raising. That why is a vulnerable adult who's out in the community under Section 117 aftercare, who's in my care when I'm charging £1 million a week to you, the council, has he been left in this situation where he's got no access to spend any money for the last several years? He's got no access to his any medication or the NHS because of your interference with his medical records, and he's got no access to for anybody to make decisions regarding his health and welfare at this stage. Do you understand what you're going to do about this?
No, I don't, to be honest, no.
And so what is your role again? You work for Bradford Council as a social worker.
Yeah.
All right? And you're not going to do anything.
The matters are in the courts.
No, it doesn't matter. Look at. Yeah, so the matters in the courts by your managers, by your seniors. So obviously they're not willing to speak to me, are they? Where's Nadia Khan? Where's Vazina Brown? I want to speak to them. They won't speak to me. Where's Ian the Health and Wellbeing Director? He doesn't want to speak to me. All right, the city solicitor, Parveen Akhtar's ran away. All right, so you must have got a new city solicitor now. All right, Kirsten Hillen doesn't want to speak to me, considering the last time we spoke to her. You're leaving a one. So right now, can you look? We're going to end the conversation now because obviously I've taken up more time than I need. We can rearrange for another call. But can you, before we finish this conversation, can you please tell me that since December 2020 until now, which is coming to be nearly 2 years later, that my brother's been left in a position where there's nobody legally has a right to act on his behalf for his health and welfare? Is that not negligent on your part as the council?
Not as far as I'm aware.
Or why not? Well, how is it not negligent? I've just explained to you that there's your client, Mr. Talib Hussain, who's out in the community under a Section 117 aftercare, showing the fact that he's a very vulnerable person, he's got mental health problems, all right, got physical problems. He needs somebody to make decisions regarding his health and welfare more than his money. Because if he's missing money, I'm his brother, I'm supplementing his finances, aren't I? He's not dying, I'm here, he's with me, I'm taking care of his finances, as difficult as that is at the present situation of there being a care crisis, a living expense crisis in the society, all right? So, but more importantly, how can you state that this is not criminal neglect or negligence on the part of the council and the Office of the Public Guardian, where for the past 2 years they've left my brother in a situation where he's got nobody legally acting for him in regards to his health and welfare? How can you say that's not negligent?
I don't know enough about it, to be honest with that. So.
But no, it's not. With Mr. Browell, you're his social worker. You're his care coordinator. His care is being coordinated by you. No, his care is being facilitated by me. Hence why I'm liaising with you. I'm liaising with you because on the one hand, you're his care coordinator. He's obviously in need of care. I'm providing him with that care. I'm the point of contact. He's delegated me. I'm providing that point of care to him. I'm charging you, the council, £1 million a week. You're fully aware of this. We don't need to repeat this, right? So that's why I'm speaking to you. You're also a social worker because you work for Bradford Council, all right, who are taking litigation action to the Court of Protection. They've removed his lasting power of attorney for property and finances. You become his deputy for property and finances under the guise that this person lacks litigation, lacks mental capacity. Okay. Under your understanding, he lacks mental capacity. Then why has he been left in a situation why has he been left to languish in a situation for 2 years where there's nobody to making decisions regarding his health and welfare? And how can you then say that that's not negligent? Either give me an answer. Who is making decisions who is legally making decisions regarding Talib's health and welfare, considering you are on the assumption that he lacks mental capacity? All right. So you're saying he lacks mental capacity, or that's what your position is. So somebody needs to be making decisions on his behalf. It's not me because you've removed my lasting power of attorney. It's not you because the Court of Protection has not appointed you. You've not even instigated proceedings regarding his health and welfare. So you either tell me somebody who's legally making decisions regarding my brother's Talib's health and welfare, or you tell me that this is you recognize this as clearly being negligent. How is there any other option that you can take?
It's going through the courts, and that's why it's being contested, isn't it? So,
But no, it's gone through the courts. You've already got a court order, right? You've already removed his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare. You've suspended it. All right. But this is you're saying because look, Mr. Browell, you're not going to be dealing with Talib's money, are you? You're not in a position. You're not in a position to even tell him how much money he's got. So you're not in charge of Talib's money. You personally, that's not your remit. You're not in charge of his money at all, are you? That's Mr. Muller from the financial protection team. That's the solicitors, and that's Kirsten England. So I can't talk to you about money, can I?
no.
Okay. So in the absence of talking to him about his money, which is all to do with the Court of Protection with regards to the local authority becoming his deputy and taking care of his finances, that's off the table. It would not be right for me to discuss that with you because you're telling me that's outside of your remit. But what is then in your remit is health and welfare, isn't it? Hence why you try to do a welfare check regarding, an allegation that you've received. So we're now on the point of, I'm speaking to you, nothing to do with money regarding his health and welfare. Which is the reason that we're having this call today, considering that we had a conversation in August and you said to me, you don't need to talk to us, we don't need to talk to each other. You've then received a malicious safeguarding alert by Manningham Housing under instruction from Bradford Council, all right, in order to make a mountain out of a molehill. We're here today, I'm speaking to you today regarding my brother's health and welfare. And I'm telling you, and I'm gaining clarity from you that you are fully aware that his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare, which my brother signed in my favor, all right, has been suspended. It's been suspended for the last 2 years. Hence why I cannot make decisions, his health and welfare decisions. I.e., I cannot get him registered to a different GP practice here in Bradford. He's presently registered in a GP practice in Oldham, and I cannot get him registered to a GP practice in Bradford because his lasting power of attorney for me to act on his behalf has been removed. In July, at the end of July, start of August this year, you the council have wrote to Talib telling him that we will assist you getting registered with a GP practice in Bradford. So you're fully aware that in the absence of me registering him, because my lasting power of attorney has been suspended, you need to gain access to Talib in order for him to get registered for a GP practice in Bradford. All right. So that's what your role was, Mr. Browell. You told me that you received instructions to get a letter that the council had drafted translated into Urdu. Hence why I spoke to you back in August. That what was your role regarding this letter? And remember, I contacted you regarding this letter. All right. Earlier on in the year, in July, August, because you wrote a letter. We're on the pivotal point here. We're not going around in circles. I'm asking the simple question, which you should have a concern about as a social worker, as his care coordinator, that who is legally responsible for my vulnerable brother, Mr. Talib Hussein's health and welfare? Do you recognize that that's me? If you recognize that that's me, then tell me what legal framework you recognize me as acting on his health and welfare behalf. And if it's not me that you're talking to, that I'm explaining to you that I have no legal right to act on Talib's behalf in order to get him registered to a GP practice in Bradford, because you, the council, Bradford Council, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have suspended his lasting power of attorney. You also refuse to recognize that my brother has mental capacity to authorize me to act on his behalf so I can help assist him get a GP here in Bradford. So you tell me now, this is a simple question. Why are you talking to me? Under what legal right do I have to represent my brother, not in financial terms, in health and welfare terms?
Well, I think it's a bit of a bad situation, Shazad, because it'd be better if I could talk to Talib, but I've only spoken with him once, so...
And what did he say?
There's no other option than trying to speak to you.
No. You spoke to him once. He asked you a simple question: how much money of mine do you have as a council? You then gone and spoken to the financial team, and you relayed the message that we're not going to tell you. We can't tell you. We don't need to tell you. It's standard practice. So you've met him. You've spoken to him. But that we're not talking about money. And you said you've not managed to speak to him, and the reason that you've not managed to speak to him because he's told me he doesn't want to speak to you because you've unlawfully kidnapped him in August 2018, held him in your unlawful care and custody, tried to refuse from my visits to him, made false allegations about me. Then the council tried to remove me as nearest relative. Then you've put me to prison again in November 2018, and you're harming me as his carer. And then subsequently you've murdered his mother and not let him see his mother. What? All right, let me ask you this, Mr. Browell. You came onto this case following our stay in Oldham. What did you do? How did you assist my brother Talib to help see his own mother?
That's not part of my job.
No, but listen to me. You, the Bradford Council, had kicked me out of the house. I'm his carer, so I had to take him with me to my sister's house where we were homeless in Oldham. You, then the council, are writing to me saying that we don't want to talk to you. We're not gonna facilitate you acting on behalf of your brother Talib to see our mother. And you're saying that, but then surely that would have been your job to help assist Talib to see his mother, which he didn't see for the last year of her life. Surely that's part of your remit. You, the council, have removed Talib's mother, our mother, from our life. You, the council, said, his brother, cannot assist Talib to see his mother. So the question arises, what has you, the council, done to facilitate Talib visiting his own mother in Bradford? Because remember, you, the council, had banned me from the area. So what did you do to help Talib see his own mother before she died?
I don't know anything about that side of it because I wasn't involved with the care of Talib's mum.
No, but it's got nothing to do with his mum, is it? You, the Bradford Council, were taking charge and caring for our mother in our own home whilst you had banished me from the premises with, injunctions that I couldn't come into the area. I'm not talking about my mum's care. But can you understand, as a consequence, Talib has become homeless, and then, he's ended up at our sister's house where I'm continuing to care for him. I'm saying, look, me and my brother, my sister, and my brother want to see our mother, and the council, Bradford Council, are saying, we're not going to entertain you representing your brother, sister or brother, so you would not facilitate me assisting my brother to see his own mother while she was dying. So what did you, the council, do to facilitate Talib's seeing his mother?
I don't know.
You did nothing, did it? You personally didn't do anything, did you?
That's not really part of my job.
Yeah, and neither did your predecessor Baljit Note and Fungai Machichatidi. What your predecessors had done, as long as yourself, was that you had gone to his GP in Oldham and told them that, look, we need to get Dr. Todd to do a quick mental health capacity assessment in order to get power and control over him. That's what you coordinated with the GP practice in Oldham with Dr. Todd, who's a malevolent person, who was involved in my mother's case, who's now you had commissioned his services for a predetermined outcome for Dr. Todd to conclude that my brother lacks mental capacity, considering you don't have this in place. So that's what you assisted in doing. You did not assist. So Browell Council, Sun Valley practices, GP practice in Oldham, and all the other parties, the courts, the judges, had all colluded and conspired to facilitate you to ensure that there's an outcome of a malevolent outcome of him having lack of mental capacity. But what did you do regarding his health and welfare? How did you assist him seeing his own mother? What care provisions did you have in place? Why did Talib not see his own mother for the last year of her life? Considering he's a vulnerable person, and my brother was the most important person in my mum's life. You did nothing. That's correct, isn't it?
It's nothing to do with my job. I've only been able to see Talib once, so I don't know what else I could have done.
No, but it's not. But the thing is, it's not your job, is it? You're taking instructions from your seniors, aren't you? Yeah. So it's not. Yeah, okay, no, but just 1 second. I said I'm looking to end this conversation. The last thing I just need from you, we're on the subject matter. We've been dancing around all the other things, okay, regarding all the other things regarding his badge, regarding Adalat and your involvement. But this is the critical aspect here. We're at the point now. How long has this conversation been going on now? We're now over 1 hour and 25 minutes. Yeah? And I just want to ask you the critical question that why is it not negligent on the part of the Browell Council and the Office of the Public Guardian, where they've suspended my lasting power of attorney, so I can no longer make decisions, health and welfare decisions, not financial decisions, health and welfare decisions regarding my brother Talib, considering he's in my care since the 14th of December 2018 for the last nearly 2 years, nearly 4 years, all right? That I can't make decisions regarding his health and welfare, and neither can you, Browell Council. And so nobody's legally entitled to make health. How can you tell me that's not negligent?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You need to look.
I think you kind of overstepping the mark now. I've asked you if I could end the phone conversation.
Okay, all right. I look, with respect, I'm not ending the conversation. You've not answered the question. Fair enough. Let's end the conversation today. When can we speak next?
I haven't got time to speak with you next week. If you want to speak the week after, that's fine. But
okay.
As these conversations take nearly an hour and a half, I can't spend that every week talking.
Okay, but is this not back on the template that you want to keep in touch every 2 weeks, or just to check the situation, just to monitor the situation?
Not really, because I'm no wiser on how Talib is.
What do you mean you're no wiser? I've told you how you can become wiser. All right, go speak to my neighbors. Go speak to your agent Shagufta, my niece, who met my brother Talib on the 9th of October. And what do you need to become wiser? Look, Mr. Browell, I'm looking to end the conversation, but you see, you're making it very difficult because you're not answering a very simple question. This is a very serious matter. This is criminal neglect. Because nobody's acting on behalf of my brother Talib. All right? And you keep on saying that, we're going to see in 2 weeks. All right, we'll speak to you in 2 weeks. But how can you say you're none the wiser? You've just become wise today regarding my brother, the fact that my brother's going to become in a critical situation. He's going to become homeless because your collaborating partners, Manningham Housing Association, are going to kick us out of the house, all right, by buying off the judges, all right, under the direction from the council. So that's a critical matter. I've made you aware today in this call today for the first time that my brother is a disabled badge is going to come for a renewal, all right, which you said you're going to look into, all right. I've made you aware of several safeguarding alerts, all right. One of the most important of which being the fact that since December 2020, now we're coming up to December 2022, for a period of nearly 2 years, my brother's left in a position where nobody's legally being able to make decisions for his health and welfare, all right, which is more priority for him. He doesn't care about the money. All right, money is an external thing. All right, it's important, but people being able to care for somebody, that's important. So how can you say you're none the wiser? All right, we've had this overlong conversation. It's very, very important. I've raised 2 safeguarding alerts. All right, and you keep on saying, you keep on triggering me saying that, oh, Mr. Hussain, we're going around in circles. We're not going around in circles. This is my time, and this is my look, Mr. Browell. With respect to you, I understand that you're busy, and I understand that you're other work commitments. But this hour and a half, you're getting paid for, aren't you?
Yeah.
Am I? Who's paying for my time? Who's paying for my time? It's a simple question, Mr. Browell. Who's paying for my time?
I don't know who's paying for your time, she said.
Nobody's formally nobody's paying for my time in order for me to engage with you as there. I've made you aware that I'm charging £1,000,000, hence why I'm engaging with you. But the bottom line remains, Mr. Browell, is the fact that I'm giving up my time, all right, according to you, is an act of charity. Because nobody's paying me for my time, and you're a professional, allegedly doing a professional job. We're not talking about my girlfriend, all right, or what happened on Brookside last night or EastEnders last night. We're talking about my brother Talib. I'm not talking about myself at all. I've told you my brother Talib is going to become homeless. All right, you're his care coordinator, and you said, "Oh well, I can help you fill in a form for communities, and we can try and get you another house." Rather than saying we will recommend that my brother stay here. All right. So you're not even, your seniors have told you don't make that recommendation because it's your seniors and private counsel in the background who are pulling the strings. They want us to become homeless. They want us to become homeless so you can take control over Talib and take over nearly £200,000. £70 from Talib, from our brother Adalat, which you've taken unlawfully from me, £30,000 purportedly for his couple of years for his benefit money, and over £100,000 for his property that you're going to try to confiscate off him. So you're clearly a fraud is going on here. I'm telling you this stuff because it's important. You're aware that this call is being recorded. I've made you aware, so that's not under any illusions to you. All right, I'm obviously going to have to do something. You're threatening to end our life and end my brother's life and endanger his life, considering I know the fact that you've endangered other people's life and you don't want me to do anything. So, Mr. Browell, we will end the call today with respect. I'm sorry if I've taken longer than necessary, and I don't mean to put you on the spot or degrade you in any way, but understand that you're acting as a mouthpiece for some serious malevolence. Our mother has been murdered. My brother's gonna die. All right, our life is at stake. Our our home and correspondence and our right to a private family life and is being endangered. We're in danger of our life while you go to work to do your job. So I'm going to end the call, Mr. Browell, today, and I would ask you, when can you speak to us next? So I want an update on the safeguarding alerts that I've raised today. I want an update on the application for his disabled badge, and I want an update on how to find some resolution to the present situation. Can we do that? Can we do that in 2 weeks?
Yeah, in 2 weeks, I can do a call.
Okay, what day and time? So it's going to be the week commencing the 7th.
Yeah. So be like the 8th, Tuesday the 8th.
Okay, Tuesday the 8th at 2 o'clock?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Browell, I need to make you aware that other safeguarding issue that I raised with you today is that my brothers are going to become homeless. I need to make you aware that the hearing is going to take place on the 30th. I've just got information today, on Friday, recently, that the final hearing is going to take place on the 30th of November. So on the 30th of November, a vulnerable person that's in my care and custody, all right, is going to become homeless. because the Bradford Council have bought off the Manningham Housing Association solicitors and the judges, and no doubt they're going to railroad through a court order asking us to vacate the premises. And at the same time, you, the local authority, are responsible for his finances and are saying that you act as his deputy. So this is a concern. So I just need to bring that as a safeguarding alert that we're going to now become homeless because of the actions taken by Bradford Council.
Is that the 30th of November?
That's correct, yes. I've been made aware that my brother Talib and I are in court on the 30th of November, where obviously the matter is going to be railroaded through as per usual, because no doubt Bradford Council have bought the judge off the day to railroad this case. But irrespective, my brother's now in my care. Obviously going to be facing homelessness on the 30th of November. So just so you can relay that and save that and raise that as a safeguarding alert to Vicina Brown, Nadia Khan, and no doubt Mark Truin and your senior managers, that this is the consequences of the actions that your malevolent actions that you're taking, and it's a safeguarding alert that I'm raising today with you. Also, I'm raising the safeguarding alert that my brother's medical records have been destroyed maliciously prior to January 2019.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, but it's not as easy that's now with safeguarding alerts, but I'll make a note of that.
What do you mean it's not safeguarding? That's what Greenbank have told me that you've been colluding and conspiring with, that you've been speaking with. We made the subject access request for disclosure of his medical record. They've told me that we can't give you anything prior to January 2019 because we don't have it. So that is, how is that not? We're not talking about his money. We're talking about his health and welfare. His GP. Can you understand that a GP cannot make decisions in partial information? He needs to have all of my brother's medical records. And he's not got a copy of my brother's medical. How is that not? So he can make so prior to 2019, my brother could have had an allergic reaction to something that he wouldn't have been aware of, and then the doctor could potentially prescribe him with something that can be fatal for him. How is that not safeguarding regarding his health and welfare? Yeah, you call me that week, but this I'm telling you is a safeguarding issue where his private medical records have been sabotaged. My relationship with the GP practice has been sabotaged through your backdoor collusion and backdoor conversations with them, which you don't have a legal right to do. You've been telling them that we moved addresses. That was the cause of our conversation when I first spoke to you in July, August. That why are you telling them we've moved addresses? What right do you have to speak to Talib's GP practice? You are not acting in my brother Talib's behalf for health and welfare. So how have you spoken to the GPs in Oldham? Could you answer me that question?
No.
Yeah. So, but you have spoken to his GPs in Oldham, which has sabotaged his relationship. Which they're not speaking to me now, all right. And so you don't have legal authority you don't have no legal authority to speak to his GP practice. So similarly, something's happened with his medical records. His medical records have been sabotaged behind the corporate veil. And no doubt January 2019 is prior to January 2019 is documented in his medical record that my brother's been discharged into the community because you had him in your care and custody from August 2018 to December 2018. So it's quite convenient that his particular medical records have been destroyed. How can you say that this is not a safeguarding alert? So,
because I don't know enough about it.
So why don't you?
I'm not aware of it. So.
Okay. But that's the whole point of a safeguarding alert. You were not aware of the fact that my brother was living in dilapidated conditions. Somebody made you aware of that. Manningham Housing made you aware of that, and then you became aware of it. Hence the safeguarding alert. Hence why you contacted me to gain clarity on this. And I've informed you that they're lying because they couldn't even gain entry to the property. Similarly, you're not aware of the fact that my brother's medical records have been sabotaged. I'm making you aware of it. You have no right to speak to Greenbank, but you have been doing. You've spoken to them in the past and told them we've changed addresses. Under the same pretext, can you not ask them what's happened to my brother's medical records, his GP records prior to 2019, and they'll tell you. That's a safeguarding.
With them being in Oldham, I don't think that really up to me or CMHT in Bradford to ask them what's happened to his medical records.
But you have talked to my Greenbank in the past and told them that Talib's moved to Bradford.
Yeah.
And you also...
Not ending with phone calls.
Yeah, but also, no, sorry. So, but also they've told you that he's got diabetes. All right?
Yeah.
So you remember we had this conversation that Talib has potentially got diabetes. So you've been talking to the GP practice. They've been telling you about his medical record. So you are involved now. Look, Mr. Browell, I'm going to...
That's not Talib's GP anymore, is it? So,
Which is not Talib's GP?
Greenbank.
Are they not his GP?
I don't know. I didn't think he's got a GP now, does he?
He's still got a GP. What you want about? See, you're getting... So how do you know that he's not got a GP? This is a decision that your seniors have made. Now I'm going to be learning by this information from Greenbank, because Greenbank have sent me a text message today saying that we wanted to get his blood tests. So they are his GP. So I'm making you aware of... look, this is a very serious... I'm sorry it's taken 1 hour and 40 minutes of your precious time, but this is a very serious matter. I'm raising a safeguarding alert. You've spoken to Greenbank in the past. Greenbank are present his GP. Speak to them. They've spoken to you in the past and informed you that he's potentially got diabetes when he didn't have diabetes. You've spoken to him and then told them that he's changed addresses when he quite clearly, that's not your right to do so. There's a channel of communication. Speak to them and try and find out who's stolen or sabotaged my brother's medical records. Can you do that as part of the safeguarding alert? Can you do that before we speak next?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'll find out, but I'm not sure.
Okay, Mr. Brown. Okay.
That information just like that. So,
well, look, my job is to raise that safeguarding alert. I've recorded it for my reference purposes. I'm making you aware of it. All right. The reason I say that is that you can say to me, Mr. Hussain is private and confidential. I have no access to his medical records, but that's not correct. Evidence has proven otherwise. You've spoken to them. They've liaised with you. I don't understand under what legal framework, because my brother Talib has not authorized you to speak to the GP practice. He's not authorized them to you that he has potentially diabetes or he's missed his blood test or whatever. All right. So there's been a communication which I think is unlawful. But irrespective, I'm now making you aware on the safeguarding, which now gives you that right. So you now do have a legal right, because I'm making you aware on the safeguarding that my brother's medical records prior to January 2019 have been destroyed, sabotaged. Greenbank Medical Practice has no access to them. You can confirm that from them, all right, under safeguarding laws that you purportedly operate under. Now you're saying I don't know. So, look, I'm getting fed up as well. Let's just end this conversation. I speak to you on the 8th of November 2022 at 2 p.m. Is that okay, Mr. Browell?
yes, it is.
Goodbye.
Yes, thank you.
And everybody is now looking to, this is a very serious issue. You've convicted me of a crime I did not commit. All right, my mother's been murdered. Bradford Council is now claiming to be the city of culture while they've put together coordinated events. All right, that's what they try to do. Badly put together, may I add, coordinated efforts in order to stage events, in order to frame me and victimize me further, and it's all fallen apart. I've spent the last hour and a half speaking to this guy. He's just being basically evasive, under my, just not being engaging with me. It's an inevitable outcome. All right, that the local authority, Bradford Council, have bought off the judge in the hearing on the coming November hearing. This is what they do. This is their modus operandi. The previous 3 judges in this case presently being pursued by Manningham Housing Association under the direct instructions and coordination of Bradford Council. The 3 previous judges have committed an act of fraud. All right, District Judge Foster, District Judge Hickinbottom, all right, District Judge Foster on the 30th of September, District Judge Hickinbottom on the 5th of July, and a previous judge whose name I forget on the 28th of March. So the local authority are doing a coordinated effort by buying off people, and they don't buy off just the professionals. They're buying off my siblings, my own family members. They bought off Adalat, all right. The Adalat is their agent and operative. They bought off my sister Shaida, who's their agent and operative, and particularly in my brother Talib's case, they bought off my niece Shagufta, who came to see us on the 11th of September, so she could gain entry to the property and then raise a private and confidential safeguarding alert that my brother was living in dilapidated conditions, hence why they could then get the right to take possession of my brother Talib. The primary objective now is to take control and possession of my brother Talib, because there's substantial amount of funds available. All right, they've got £70,000 which they've taken off me because they're saying that I've defrauded that of Talib, given it to Adalat, who's held custody of £70,000 since February 2016. So that's Talib's money that they've got through the court proceedings of falsely convicting me. So that's over £70,000 that they got of Talib's that Bradford Adalat's got under control and instructions from Bradford Council. In addition to this, they've been accumulating his benefit money directly for the last several years, 3-4 years of his benefit money that my brother. Since November 2019, since November 2019, the local authority have fraudulently become my brother Talib's DWP appointee and accumulating his money and not giving him unfettered access to it. The very same crime that they convicted me of, they're now doing. So that's £70,000. Plus, there's a property my brother has given to me in my name that they've got now going to take off my name, put it back under Talib's name, sell that property. So they're going to have around about £250,000 cash available. So they're then going to get one of their own partners, their own care agency partners, or people that they've colluded and conspired with, one of their own agents, to then take care of my brother in his best interest, where I can no longer visit him, and they're going to then use that money in order to financially plunder and profiteer from my brother and deny him any of his civil liberties and rights, so that they can now say that we're acting in his best interest when he clearly has mental capacity. And they've done this many times before to many other people, and they're doing it to me. And quite recently they've done it, just finished the operation in January this year 2022, where they did exactly the same thing. They took over my mum's finances, they booted me out of the place, they took all her money, squandered it by getting one of their own agency workers to give my mother forced care, and then eventually forcibly vaccinated her and killed her off. So that's happened in January, and now the same thing's going to happen again now for my brother Talib. So far, what they've got so far is they've got the district Judge Beckley of the Court of Protection to make them unlawfully, fraudulently deputies for my brother, so they can legally sign off that they have legal right to control my brother's finances. However, there's a more important issue, which is his health and welfare. His health and welfare is more important to Talib, is more important to me, because the health and welfare can result in the end of his life. The taking money away from somebody can only result in somebody becoming bankrupt, all right? And money can be given to somebody from other people, as I'm giving my brother and supporting him financially, considering that I've been criminally convicted for financially defrauding him. Now all of a sudden I'm the sole person financially supporting him. Money is not such an important issue to the vulnerable person as the health and welfare decision rights. To the local authority, yeah, they can steal the money from us and they can use that to go to parties, all right, to have parties and go do whatever they want with the money, because they can that money has a fungibility property, which means the fact that they can utilize that for their own benefit, all right. But with regards to data and with regards to decisions regarding health and welfare, that doesn't benefit financially or otherwise the local authority. The only thing that it benefits them is that they can get money out of it. So those decisions are more important to my brother, because my brother tell about anybody, because those are decisions regarding somebody's life. And so they're being, oh, we don't know, we're acting ignorantly. So they're acting with criminal neglect, and this is quite clearly evident regarding what's happening now. So just exhausting people, for such a long time, and for them to be just acting dumb and idiotic in front of me. Yet the reality is that they are acting with design, with stratagem, engineering a situation like they've just failed in engineering now. They try to get my niece Shagufta to attend the property and raise a false flag safeguarding alert regarding the conditions. That failed. So then they got money to get a safeguarding injunction, not money to get an injunction to gain entry regarding gas safety inspection. That failed. They've then run away with just absolutely pathetic. I'm just exhausted having to deal with such a level of idiocracy and malevolence. Sickening.